I need to ask you something right off the bat. Do you remember the ending of Peacemaker Season 1? That ridiculous, hilarious, and completely out of nowhere Justice League cameo? Superman, Aquaman, The Flash, and Wonder Woman showing up in the middle of a dirty swamp after everything was already over. The gag landed. Aquaman gets roasted about sleeping with fish, Barry Allen is just standing there awkwardly, and Peacemaker mutters about them finally showing up way too late. It was shocking, it was bold, and it was a meme goldmine. But here's the thing nobody wanted to admit at the time that scene broke the DCEU timeline in half. Because if you line it up with Justice League, with Suicide Squad, or even The Flash, none of it makes sense. Why would these gods, these world-defining heroes, casually stroll into Peacemaker's backyard battle like it's a running joke? And worse, it left fans questioning whether James Gunn was mocking the DCU itself. Now fast forward to today. We finally have an actor from Peacemaker directly addressing the controversy, addressing the fact that yes, that cameo wasn't just for laughs, it's being retconned. That's right, they admitted it. The cameo has officially been rewritten, repositioned, and recontextualized to make sense in the new DCU. And suddenly, the internet is on fire again. Because if that one scene is being retconned, if James Gunn is taking one of the funniest, most unexpected DCEU moments and scrubbing it clean for his shiny new universe, what else is on the chopping block? Let me loop you in here, because this goes way deeper than just a cameo gag. We're talking about the end of the Snyderverse, we're talking about a full-scale erasure of continuity, and most dangerously, we're talking about how Peacemaker, the character, the show, and John Cena himself might be one of the only survivors of this rebooted multiverse. Yes, I said survivors, but before we unravel that forbidden knowledge, before we dig into the secrets James Gunn doesn't want casual fans to connect, let me pose a rhetorical question to you. If Peacemaker survives into the new DCU, but the Justice League we saw in his show has been reconned into oblivion, then what did we actually watch in Season 1? Was it canon? Was it a parody? Was it an Elseworld? Or was it a ticking time bomb left in the timeline as a warning to fans that the old world was being dismantled piece by piece? See, here's the painful truth that nobody at Warner Bros. will say out loud. Peacemaker Season 1 was never designed to fit perfectly into the DCU. James Gunn used it as a test lab, a sandbox, a way of stretching the rules of canon so he could see how far fans would bend before breaking. And when audiences ate it up, when memes of Aquaman and the fish joke went viral, that gave Gunn his green light. That gave him the confidence to push harder, to reboot bigger, to swing the wrecking ball at the Snyderverse without mercy. But here's the shocking twist. When the actor addressed the cameo recently, they didn't just laugh it off as a gag. No, they revealed that it's been reclassified. That it doesn't count the way fans thought it did. And that is the clearest confirmation yet that Peacemaker is a bridge show, a survivor being carried from one dead continuity into a brand new one. Now, pause. Think about that. Peacemaker, a second-tier anti-hero played by a wrestler turned actor, will survive the transition between cinematic universes, but Henry Cavill's Superman won't. Ben Affleck's Batman won't. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman won't. How does that make sense? How is John Cena's Peacemaker more canon-worthy than the very gods of the DC universe? Unless, and here's where the forbidden knowledge creeps in, unless this was the plan all along, what if James Gunn chose Peacemaker specifically because he was disconnected enough from the mainline heroes that he could be smuggled into the new DCU without fans screaming about continuity? What if that Justice League cameo was always disposable, always meant to be erased later when the reboot hammer came down? I mean, tell me, how else do you explain it? This isn't just a retcon, this is a warning shot. And if you think that's dramatic, wait until you see what's coming in Peacemaker Season 2. But hold on, before we dive even deeper into this rabbit hole of rewrites, let me just say this: if you've made it this far, you're clearly a fan who cares about the truth behind the superhero multiverse, and that means you have to hit subscribe. Seriously, it's the only way to make sure you don't miss when we expose the next retcon, the next forbidden secret hidden in plain sight. So smash that button, join the breakdown community, and let's keep digging. Because the retcon we're talking about today, it's not just about Peacemaker, it's about what this means for the future of the entire DCU. And I'll tell you right now, the actors' comments, they change everything. Stay with me, because the forbidden knowledge is only just beginning to unravel. So let's get right to it. The actor in question is Freddie Stromer, who plays Vigilante in Peacemaker. He's the one who finally pulled the curtain back, and his comments have reignited the firestorm about that infamous Justice League cameo. In a recent interview, Stromer admitted what many of us suspected, but couldn't prove the cameo was never about maintaining DCEU continuity. It was about tone, about Gunn's meta comedy pushing the boundaries of canon. And most importantly, he confirmed that going into Season 2, that Justice League moment no longer counts. Let me repeat that, because it's easy to miss the weight of those words. The Justice League scene you saw in Peacemaker Season 1 has been reconned out of existence. And that revelation changes the game completely. Because if you're like most fans, you probably assumed Gunn would treat Peacemaker like a branch of the old DCEU, a quirky side story connected to the Suicide Squad. After all, it dropped Aquaman, Superman, and even poked fun at Batman. But now, with Stromer's comments, the mask slips. James Gunn doesn't care about maintaining that branch. He's pruning it, selectively, strategically. Think about what this means. The Peacemaker Justice League cameo is gone. The Snyderverse continuity it was attached to is gone. But John Cena's Peacemaker and Freddie Stromer's Vigilante, they stay. That's not an accident. That's a surgical strike. And the more you trace it, the more sinister it looks. Because now we have to ask, was Peacemaker Season 1 ever canon at all, or was it a prototype? A stress test for James Gunn's new DCU. Let's rewind for a second. Back when Peacemaker first dropped on HBO Max, fans were stunned by its Justice League gag. People debated endlessly about whether it fit into the wider DCEU. Some argued it had to, because why else would Warner Bros. Allow Gunn to use Superman, Aquaman, Flash, and Wonder Woman in live action? Others argued it was just a comedy bit, not meant to hold up to scrutiny. But here's the secret nobody wanted to face: both answers were true. It was canon until it wasn't. It was serious until it was disposable. It was the DCEU until Gunn decided it wasn't. And that's exactly how James Gunn operates. He plays with canon like clay. He reshapes it until it fits his vision, and if it breaks in the process, so be it. Now think about Freddie Stromer's comments again. By saying the cameo no longer counts, by admitting that the continuity has shifted, he's not just clarifying a joke. He's confirming the eraser has already been used. This is the first domino in a chain reaction that will completely reshape the DCU. Because here's the terrifying question no fan wants to face. If Gunn can casually retcon away the Justice League from Peacemaker, what else can he erase? Is the Suicide Squad still canon? Does Harley Quinn still exist in this continuity? Did Bloodsport really put Superman in the ICU? Does Amanda Waller still answer to the same government we saw in Zack Snyder's world? Or is every single one of those details already gone, scrubbed away, waiting to be rewritten in Gunn's clean slate DCU? The truth? We don't know. And that uncertainty is exactly the point. James Gunn thrives on chaos. He thrives on leaving fans disoriented, laughing one moment and panicking the next. And with Peacemaker, he's pulled off his biggest trick yet, creating a show that exists in two timelines at once. Timeline A, the Snyderverse continuity, where Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Flash existed, but mostly off-screen. Timeline B, the Gunverse continuity, where those same characters are being rebuilt from scratch, and the cameo never happened. Peacemaker sits in the overlap, a Schrodinger's cat of canon, both alive and dead, both connected and erased, both belonging to the DCEU and not. That's why Freddie Stromer's comments sting so much, because they reveal the trick wasn't an accident, it was deliberate. Gunn wanted a show that could survive the collapse of one universe and slip into another, and he succeeded. But here's where things get even darker. If Peacemaker is a survivor, if he gets carried over into the DCU while giants like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are left behind, then what does that say about Gunn's priorities? It says that continuity is no longer about story, it's about loyalty. Gunn isn't saving characters because they make narrative sense, he's saving them because they're his. Think about it: Peacemaker, Vigilante, Amanda Waller, these are all characters tied directly to Gunn's Suicide Squad sandbox. And magically, they're the ones crossing over into the rebooted DCU. Meanwhile, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot,
Gunn, Ezra Miller,
wiped away. Even Jason Momoa's Aquaman is rumored to be retooled into an entirely new character, possibly Lobo. What's left is Gunn's crew, his pets, his sandbox survivors, and that's the forbidden knowledge most fans don't want to admit. This isn't a reboot. It's a culling. The Snyderverse wasn't just ended, it was harvested. Select characters were plucked out, like organs from a dying body, and transplanted into the new DCU Frankenstein. And Peacemaker, he's the poster child of that transplant. The more you look at it, the more chilling it gets. Because if Freddie Stromer is willing to openly admit that a Justice League cameo, one of the boldest swings in HBO Max history, has been erased, then Season 2 is guaranteed to take this even further. What if Season 2 directly contradicts events from Season 1? What if characters mention things differently, gloss over details, or act like the Justice League never existed in their world? What if the canon you think you know is rewritten in real time, right in front of you? This isn't just theory. Gunn has already promised that Peacemaker Season 2 will directly connect to the wider DCU, not the old one, the new one. That means the pruning is already done, the retcon is complete, and fans are left holding the bag. The Justice League cameo you loved, the meme you shared, the moment you thought gave Peacemaker legitimacy in the DCU, it's gone. A ghost, a relic of a universe that doesn't exist anymore. And that's why this retcon matters more than any cameo or Easter egg, because it shows us, without question, that James Gunn is willing to rewrite the past to protect his future. But the deeper question is this: if Gunn is rewriting history, where does that leave the audience? Are we just passengers on this ride, forced to accept whatever version of canon he decides is real this month? Or are we being conditioned to slowly, strategically, to let go of continuity altogether? Because if you've noticed, every time fans push back, every time they scream about canon, Gunn has the same response. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy the ride. But how do you enjoy the ride if you don't even know where the road begins or ends? That's the trap. That's the forbidden knowledge. And with Freddie Strummer's comments, the trap is now exposed. But here's the kicker. This Retcon isn't just about the Justice League cameo, it's about the entire fabric of the DCEU. Because if Gunn can erase gods with a single offhand explanation, then what else is he planning to rewrite in Season 2? Stay with me, because the answer to that question will blow this entire conversation wide open.